Okay, it says we are live, but I think I set the post on Patreon to post in like 1 minute because it wouldn't let me do it less than 5 minutes in advance, and I tried posting at 4:57 for a scheduled post. So it might be a little bit before people get in, but in that time, I'm going to check the settings and make sure that. Okay, sweet. I think it is coming out. Oh no, maybe it's not. Darn it, hold on. No, I want to make sure the audio is coming out of this guy. They've tried to simplify things here on YouTube Live, which is cool, but also not cool when you're trying to look at your settings. And there's no like audio and video settings. I can mute my microphone and then I can like not mute my microphone. And that's about it. But I guess my laptop microphone is fine, but I want to use the good one. Unless I am using it and I just don't know it. No, because I'm doing this and it sounds the same. It's definitely coming to my laptop. Oh boy. Well, for everyone listening on the recording and not live, I hope you're having a great time. I am just here struggling to get this thing to work because I don't think it lets you choose your microphone anymore, which is super fun and super cool. And really great. I'm so glad that this is how it works. I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but I wanted the thing to work. I wanted like in the old version, you could plug in a microphone and then go to settings and then it'd be like, oh, sweet, here you go. But no more, but no longer. I can change emojis, so that's good. Thank goodness I can do that. Where would I be without an emoji menu? There's like a little drop down thing and all it lets you do is see participants. It lets you pop out the chat, which is dumb. And then you can also toggle timestamps, which I don't even know what that's doing. Hello, the two of you have joined. Don't mind me. I've just been struggling for the past 2 minutes and 12 seconds to figure out what's up, BJ? How to get the audio to work. I don't know how. On the new simplified YouTube Live, how to change your microphone. I don't think that it's an option, which is dumb. But you know, what are you gonna do? I can share this to a million different websites that nobody uses, like StumbleUpon. Do people still use StumbleUpon? But I can't pick what microphone I want to use. Isn't life beautiful? Wow, life's amazing here at YouTube Live. I think there is still a way to do like the old school one, which I can do, and that definitely lets you pick the microphone, but then you don't get to see the comments in real time. Yeah, exactly, Alex. Simplify. Like, it's like, oh yeah, there's less buttons. It's like, well, I liked the buttons because they let me do the things I wanted to do. I wonder if I go into my Mac and change my... But you know what? Whatever will be, will be. I will stall until the live stream is 5 minutes in, which is my customary practice. And then I will get into the normal discussion part. But I hope everyone's having a great Thursday. More fun than me with this audio issue, which is super fun. It's not really an issue. I'm sure no one would even like care or notice. But I took the effort to plug in the microphone and stuff, my old one, so that I could like sound cooler. And then it didn't want to make it work, but it's all right. It's fine. It's no big deal. I trust my MacBook microphone to not be complete garbage. But, you know, you just can't have everything that you want in life sometimes. People have sent in questions, which is great. If you want to send in more questions, you can. You can also type them in the chat, which is totally legitimate and allowed. I had someone send an email, Nikita sent, it was like, question if it's not too late. Like, not too late. I do not have you need to send questions in by a certain time. I am not, and it's chill. We're all friends here. It's all just a good, fun, free-flowing time. Look how lax everything is. But we got 6 people in right now, which is cool. And in 30 seconds, I'll get to like the real part of it and stuff. And then we'll go for like 30 minutes. And then I'm actually going to go to get a haircut because I want my hair to look fresh and clean for when I go to the live show this weekend, which is going to be super fun. So I'm super stoked about that. It's going to be a blast and a half. Thank you to the person that clicked like on the live chat. Thank you so much. That was so kind of you. I don't know if that does anything because it's unlisted, so I don't think this matters, but whatever. Okay, we are at now 5 minutes in, so I'm going to start doing the normal live stream stuff. 2 likes. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do? All right. So I'm going to first start by going through the 3 likes. Oh, my Lord. So I'm going to go through 8 people, 3 likes. Everything's great. Frank, you're a boss. So I'm going to go through the questions. Feel free to leave them in the chat or respond to stuff in the chat or email stuff to potterspodcast@gmail.com. But let's go through the questions that we've got for this live stream. So the first comes from Kumail Doc, and he asks multiple questions. The first of which he asks, in terms of character growth, who do you think by the end of the series will have the best character arc from start to finish? And wow, it's a good one. I want to give it to Ginny, I believe, because if you look at what Ginny started the series as, she started just as like Ron's little sister that was obsessed with Harry and had a big crush on Harry, and that was it. And she has become so much more. She is now, like, they say she's one of the more powerful wizards at Hogwarts. She's good at her stuff. She's like one of the stars of the Quidditch team now. She's really funny. She's very sassy. She stands up to her brothers and stuff. Gets along with a lot of people at the school. Obviously, she's been dating a bunch of people. So she's really gone from like too shy to talk to Harry. And then also like the whole Voldemort diary of death in the Chamber of Secrets, like not a high point for Ginny Weasley. And now she's really great. And I would not be surprised if, come the end of the 6th book and the entirety of the 7, she's even better. So I think best arc from start to finish, probably Ginny, at least in terms of like from 0 to 100. I also think Hermione is a good case, but I think her ascent was very rapid. If you listen to early episodes of Potters, I did not like Hermione in the beginning. She was like just the most annoying goody two shoes, like by the books person. And then she got better later on, but it happened very quickly. I'm pretty sure like over the course of the end of the 1st book, and then definitely by the end of the 2nd book, she was improved Hermione. So I would give it to Ginny Weasley. I just think she had the biggest glow up, if you will. So, oh my God, we're at 6 likes. You guys are too much. Oh, James listening at work. Don't get fired or in trouble. I'll try get good at hiding laughter if that's a thing. So if I'm funny enough to make that happen. So Kumail says, also, not as much of a question, but more of a suggestion. Have you heard of soft and hard magic systems in fantasy literature? I have not. It's something that a lot of fantasy writers need to consider when designing magic systems for different fantasy universes, such as Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars have soft magic systems, whereas Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, Avatar: The Last Airbender have hard magic systems. I strongly urge you to look it up, and it might really help you understand how magic is described in the HP universe from J.K. Rowling's perspective. So he ended the email with, P.S. You're wrong about everything. Ludo Bagman is the Half-Blood Prince. Great way to round out the email. So yes, I definitely, though I did not know that there were these names for hard and soft magic systems, I get the vibe of that for sure, because I always kind of poke fun at the fact that things just get decided upon in the Harry Potter series. Like, oh yeah, this is a spell you can do. Like Hermione drawing the X on the doors in the Ministry of Magic. Yeah, this is a thing. And they don't really describe the theory of magic. I did just read the chapter where there's potions class, and they actually talk about like a law of the equivalent of like a law of thermodynamics, which is awesome. But they don't go into it. So I think I would appeal more to a hard magic system, just because my little engineering brain wants to know the rules of stuff and how things work. It's why I liked physics the most of the science classes I took, because it was like, here's gravity. This is why it works. This is how fast things fall. This is how long it is until something breaks, etc. I like seeing the rules and then working within them. So I understand that her story and Harry Potter is definitely more, it's more about the people and less about the magic. And they're, the books are targeted towards a younger audience. So like, it makes sense. I get it. It's just not, I get frustrated by not knowing how everything works perfectly. So yeah, maybe I'll have to check out books that are specifically of the hard magic system, because I might like them a little bit more. So thanks, Kumail. That's fun. Harlan has a couple questions. Harlan Haskins, very active in the Facebook private group, which I love, and also apparently very active in the spoilers group. But that is only from recon I've heard from Kelly Beckman, because I can't step in that spoilers group. That'd be the worst. Harlan asks, which characters would you want more of their backstories? Ooh, more of the backstories. Definitely the professors, like McGonagall for sure. I would say Dumbledore, but I guess we're getting that in the new Fantastic Beasts movie. We'll learn more about Dumbledore's past, but I would definitely want to learn more about McGonagall, because she's perfect. The Marauders also would be fun. And by that, I mean, like, I kind of just want to know more about Lupin because he's the best one. Because like James and Sirius are, I don't know, they were kind of jerks. So I think the Marauders would be fun to get the backstory. Maybe the twins like early years in the school, because we kind of get to the point where I'm not sure how much older the twins are versus Ron and Harry. I think they're only like 2 or 3 years older, but like I feel like it was always established that the twins are very well liked and very much established that they are the class clowns. I would like to see the twins rise to becoming class clowns. Like they enter the school and then they start like doing all these pranks, and maybe people don't like them at first, but then they start to be funny. I think that could be fun. So yeah, and honestly, like anybody in the order, that'd be cool. Like Kingsley Shacklebolt's backstory would be dope. Moody's backstory, like when he was back in the Order days, would be dope. So yeah, there's so many different people, and I would love to hear about it. Harlan asks, next, have you created any of your own headcanons, such as Marauders, shipping, founders, etc.? My headcanon, it's more of like predictions that I want to become true. Like my headcanon is that Luna and Neville get married. I want that to happen. I guess one that is not necessarily a future prediction, but something that they don't really touch on that I fully believe is that Hooch and Sprout are dating 1,000%. Like they are 100% dating, or are married or whatever. They are in a relationship of sorts. I believe that to be true 100%. I don't know what else. I haven't thought of it too much. Because I kind of want to like wait until I figure out what is true, and then I can decide what is a headcanon, which is inherently, you know, something that I believe that isn't necessarily confirmed. So those are the two I would say for now that definitely stand out. Let's see. Oh, Annette types, hey Shubes, I remember your Hermione rant's kind of epic. Yeah, like earlier on, Hermione was just like super annoying. And just the person that I don't like. And it's something that in an episode I just recorded with Miel, they have the thing where like in potions class, they're supposed to make the antidotes, and Hermione keeps working on it after Slughorn had said time is up. And that's like my least favorite thing in school ever, when people took tests and like time was up and people kept writing, because it's cheating. That's cheating. You're not allowed to do that. So Hermione had a lot of those tendencies that annoyed me in school. Also, the whole like ask people what they got on the test to see, like to compare grades, which was never fun. Like I think her early book tendencies were just like all of the like high school person that was way too obsessed with school tendencies were that I didn't like, and they were just all in one character. So I didn't like her. Kayla asks, have you sent out the merchandise for the late April Patreons? I believe. Let me look, Kayla. So here's basically how it goes down for everyone listening. I think I've said this before, but I wait a month basically between like people signing up and sending out the things, because I had the problem where people were joining and then I was sending them the shirts and then they deleted their Patreon stuff before the month ended, which is super annoying. Because like, first off, if you stick around for 1 month, like the shirts cost more than $20 to make. So like, just if you stick around for 1 month, like that's not the best. But that's fine. That's not what it's about. Like the shirts are to reward you guys. It's not, I'm not trying to like make money or something with the shirts. I'm trying to give you guys something special, because I will never make the black with gold lettering shirts available for the public ever, ever, ever. I might make Wizard on shirts later down the road, but they'll be like black with white writing or white with black writing. No one's getting shiny stuff except for you dudes. But yeah, I think whether or not I have sent out your stuff yet, Kayla, or the late April, it's happening very soon. Basically, yesterday, I was supposed to get a bunch of new packing material from Amazon. I ran out of packing tape, which I used to put the like print off things from stamps.com that has everyone's address on it. And I signed up for same day. I did a thing where I could get same day delivery from Amazon so that I would get it yesterday. My package did not arrive yesterday. They said it would arrive today. It still has not arrived today. And I was going to mail out a bunch. And usually if you're in the US, it takes like maybe 3 or 4 days for it to get there once I send it. So I'm very upset that I have a bunch of packages sitting here and I just wanted packing tape. I just wanted it, but it should be sending soon. I have a whole bunch of shirts, and either tonight, if my stuff comes in, or tomorrow on Friday, I'll be sending out a big old box of stuff, because I have all the little like envelopes done and the notes written and the stickers inside of them. I just don't have the proper like tape adhesive to put the labels on, and I want that to be correct. I don't want them to fall off. It's the most important part of the package. Well, it's the most important part of the package to get to you. So yeah, it should be soon. I'm sorry. Let's see. Frank writes, in more physics and nerds topics, a completely unrelated side project could be something like The Elegant Universe or Brief History of Time. These sound great. I don't know what they are. Louise is here, 2 a.m. in Paris, but apparently I can't sleep, so I might as well join the live stream. Hell yeah. How do sizes work? As in shirt sizes? Oh, yes. So usually I reach out on Patreon and be like, hey, thanks for joining. What's your size? You also can just message me on Patreon. I have a big spreadsheet that I keep with everybody's size and their address and stuff and whether or not I've sent it. You can just send me a direct message on Patreon and then I will add your size to it. I'm flabbergasted that that's still not a thing on Patreon. Like it'll ask you for your address so that I can send you the shirts, but when I see for the shirt size, it's very silly. I don't think like there's so many more complicated things Patreon can do, and it's like, is it so hard just to ask people what their shirt size is? But yeah, basically, you can either message me or I will message you when I get to the point when I'm ready to put your stuff together. And they are unisex shirts, so keep that in mind. So for you ladies out there, when you're telling me your size, it's for a unisex shirt. I know that sometimes ladies have said like, oh, I'm a large in women's, but a medium in unisex. They're unisex shirts, just like a crew neck, whatever, from Custom Ink. I think it's like Next Level is the brand, if that helps at all. Annette says, yay. Okay, yes, it's going to be great. The packages are so fun, and I'm going to be putting together a whole bunch more. So get excited. I'm excited. I'm just mad that Amazon didn't send me my damn stuff. I wanted to mail out a bunch of it this morning, but I couldn't. But let's move on to more questions. Harlan asks, is there a way to get one of your fans to get a guest spot on the pod? So here's what I'm thinking. I'm a madman and I planned out like guest spots super far in advance, super duper duper far. So I've got people lined up all the way through the 7th book. Like I've had it planned for a very long time. What I want to do, I think I want to do an episode where, or at least some sort of like running thing at the end of episodes, maybe where people can send in some sort of like discussion topic or a question. So you can send me like an audio file of you asking something or like saying like wanting me to talk about something or whatever. And then I could play that on the podcast and then reply to it. And then that could either be like a whole, like the equivalent of when podcasts like Spirits or My Favorite Murder do hometown stuff, where you get to, you know, submit something that becomes content on the show. I think something like that would work the best. So that if there's like a very small niche thing that you are very passionate about, then we could have episodes, and maybe it's like once a month where it's episodes like that. So that is what I have in mind for, because a lot of people reach out and they're like, oh, I'd love to be on the show, which is like, is great. I'm just I'm a bonkers human. And I have put a lot of planning ahead of like, all right, I'm going to get this person on and this person, and like scheduled it all that like, so I want to get you guys involved for sure. So that is what I'm thinking of doing. I will figure it out later. For now, I'm going to finish the books and then figure out where Potterless goes after that. So those are Harlan's questions. Thank you, Harlan. Let's see. Louis says, I love this audio file idea. I'll be on Soul Brother. Yeah, I think it could be fun. I think it'd be a fun way to get people done. Speaking of planning things out, any more details on your trip to Philly? Yeah, so I will be speaking at Podcast Movement in July. And I believe our presentation is on like a Wednesday afternoon. Now, if you're not going to the convention, don't worry about it. I'm on the same panel with people from Spirits and Join the Party and Will Williams, who does podcast reviews. And we are going to definitely do some sort of meetup near the convention center, whether it's at like a park or a bar or a restaurant or something. We will make that happen. So since our presentation is on Wednesday of whatever the week of July 23rd is, that Wednesday, we'll probably do it then. Obviously, we will tweet about it. I will post about it on social media, like, don't worry. But we will do something outside of the convention center so that you don't have to have had a ticket to like come say hi and what's up. So yeah. Frank, you could also do something like the Savage Lovecast. I've not heard of this podcast, and take some audio files as well as talk to some people. Set up like a Google Voice number so your public number is not to the world. I like this. So I think when I get to the point when this idea wants to become reality, I will probably pick your guys' brains about what I should do, and I would love to get all the input about it. Are you going to do the movies? Yes. After I finish the books, I'll do the movies, and then I'll do J.K. Rowling spinoff books, and then I'll do stuff that's unofficial, like a Harry Potter musical, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. You're like a younger copy of my best friend Alex. It's really trippy. Okay, your best friend Alex sounds great, Christine. Louis says, my mom heard me listen to Potterless the other day. She does not speak English, French, and said, you have the perfect voice for radio. Oh my goodness. And I think she fell in love. Well, tell your mom I love her. But yeah, it's funny. All throughout high school, when I've had this deep voice for a very long time. And all throughout high school, people's moms and dads would be like, oh, you have a perfect voice for radio. And I'd be like, well, cool. I don't know. It wasn't something I wanted to do. Like, I didn't want to just like be on the radio. I didn't know podcasts existed in high school. But I didn't want to, I was like, I don't want to do radio, whatever. And now it's funny now that You know, it's taken me a bunch of years, but now I'm like kind of making it on radio. I've been #blessed. I enjoy that my voice is deep. It's funny when people like compliment you on something that you didn't like have any control over. Like if, I don't know, if you were like super muscly and someone was like, wow, like your biceps are great, be like, thank you, I earned these biceps. Or like if you're great at basketball, they'd be like, wow, you're really good at basketball. Be like, thank you, I trained a lot for basketball. When people are like, oh, you have a nice voice, I'm like, thank my parents' genes. I don't like, I didn't like strengthen my vocal cord. I don't know. I'm glad that I was given it because I think it's good. And I'm glad that people enjoy it at the very least. So let's get into more questions. Kumail has some more. He says, sorry about this. I forgot to add this in the email earlier. Never apologize for sending me questions. You have not seen the 6th film yet, right? If you don't know who plays Slughorn, who do you think would be a good casting choice for him? Oh man, so I've not seen the 6th movie. I've not seen any of the 6 movies. 0 minutes. I'm just assuming it's going to suck because it's got a lot of funny remarks from Ginny, and you know how the movies work. They make Ginny suck. Who's going to play Slughorn? If we're going by the way that the past movies have worked, it's going to be someone that's British and famous. The only thing I know about Slughorn is I think he's supposed to be like bald or balding and have a beard, like a kind of like a white straggly like beard of sorts, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not super well versed in British actors. It's got to be someone that's like kind of like weird. I don't know if I can pick one, but it's definitely got to be someone who's like eccentric because Slughorn is very kind of like quirky, I would say. So it's not like, it wouldn't be like a Michael Caine or like a certain, like no one that's like very proper. They'd have to be like kind of wacky. I don't know who I would want it to be though. Like I could see an American, like I could see it being like Paul Giamatti if he wasn't a bad guy in every single movie that he's in, because now anytime I see Paul Giamatti in a movie, I'm like, oh, the bad guy. Because I don't know, I feel like, oh, you know who I'll say? No, is he too silly? He might be too silly. Screw it. I'm just going to say David Cross, the guy who plays Tobias Funke or whatever in Arrested Development. The blue dude, I think he'd be great. In like a more, like, he not necessarily wacky zany, but more of like he could be the kind of creepy but kind of quirky. I'll go with that just because I have no idea who plays him. That could be super wrong. Let's see. Oh wow, Annette is saying that people that she has an episode or two downloaded just in case someone makes a mad. You go listen to me. That's so. I'm glad I can calm you down. That's great. Nikita asks questions. Nikita Power asks. Let's see. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to all the live Q&As, so I apologize if similar questions have been asked. But here goes nothing. Do you ever re-listen to your older episodes and cringe at some of the things you say, knowing what you know now? Example: it could be Hermione, or it should be Hermione and Percy who should end up together. I did say that. Oh no, that must have been when I hated her. So let's see. I don't re-listen to like old episodes if they're very far in the past. Basically, what I usually do is, obviously I have to re-listen to the episode while I'm editing. Then I usually wait a couple days and I'll listen to it that week, just because I want, like once through, just because I want to get feedback when the episode is all done and I listen to it one go through to see what sounded good and what didn't. And sometimes I will miss little things. I'll listen to it like, oh, I should have got rid of me saying there, or little audio things like that. It's more just to make sure that everything sounded okay and try to keep things in mind for future episodes. Sometimes I'll listen and I'll think, I talked too much in this episode. I should have let my guest talk more, or other things that I think can make the podcast better. So I usually listen to it once through a couple days after posting. But honestly, the me cringing on stuff I've said usually just comes from people reaching out on Twitter for stuff that I have gotten wrong. Like either I messed up or predictions that I was incorrect about. So because people are always, more and more people are finding out the podcast, and they will be tweeting about stuff like how I talk about how people always are like, hey, did you know that instead of when he says Weatherby, he meant Weasley, not Percy? Like I get that tweet once a day. So I think the form of cringing, I don't have to listen to my old podcast because I get reminded about it every day on Twitter, which is fine and it's good. And I love interaction and stuff. So I don't have to re-listen to stuff because all the things I mess up get pointed out to me. What would you say in a job interview at Fred and George's shop? If I had an interview at Fred and George's, I would pull a prank on them in the interview. So I would go into it and I would have some sort of thing and it would all be a ruse for some other prank that would like make one of their ears get really big or make their nostrils get like have colors fly out of it or something. I would do some sort of prank, and then after they realize what it is, I'd be like, "There's my application." That's how I would do a job interview to work at their shop. So yeah, those are the 2 questions from Nikita, and that's that. Woohoo! So those are all the questions that people emailed in. Again, if you want questions for the live stream, email them in to potterspodcast@gmail.com at any time, and I just save them in a little folder and then I open them all. But let's see if people said more stuff here. Kayla asks, "What do you think the squad would be doing in 20 plus years?" 20 plus years. So it's the 6th book. They're 16, 36. Okay. So I would imagine that Harry is like killing it in the Auror police force. And I would imagine that they all have kids at this point, because I know that they talk about like, I don't know how far the epilogue is past what happens in the 7th book. So I know, Harry and Ginny get married and then Ron and Hermione get married. And I know Harry has a kid at least. And I would assume Ron and Hermione had at least a kid. So as far as like 20 years in the future, I don't know what Ron does as a job. What does Ron do? I could see Hermione, if she goes into some other job, I could see her starting to like work her way back to becoming a professor at Hogwarts. I think she could totally do that. Harry obviously killing the Auror game. Ron, man, I don't know what Ron would do. I forget of what he said he wanted to do in his job too. So yeah, Ron's a hard one to pin down. I think that he would definitely be, I don't know. I would imagine Ron would still be very, very close to his family. I think they're one of those just like tight families that would always make it a point to see each other every holiday, even if they have all moved into different locations. So I could see that happening for sure. But yeah, I think that would be the squad. I feel like the 3 of them will stay in very good touch. Obviously they will, because Harry is married to Ron's sister and Hermione and Ron are married. So I don't think it's going to be very hard for them to stay in touch. But that would be my thing there. Louise asks, "Do you like the final couples that you know of, Ron and Hermione, Ginny and Harry?" I do. I think they make the most sense in terms of like yin and yang, opposite attracts kind of thing for their relationships. Like Ginny's the only person that stands up to Harry's bullshit constantly. Hermione usually does, but she still honestly puts up with Harry's shenanigans a decent amount, which is like, but I think that Ron and Hermione make a lot of sense too, because Ron is so chill and Hermione is so high strung. They kind of balance each other out. So for those 2 couples, I like them. I know that J.K. Rowling recently said like she wanted Harry and Hermione to end up together, and like no, like no, that doesn't work at all. Not at all. I'm very glad they didn't end up together. I don't think that makes any sense, and I don't know if there's something later on in the books that makes it a hint. I think if you go by the movies, it makes more sense. But I do not think that those 2 should have been together. I'm glad they didn't. So for the 2 couples that I know of, I agree. I think that they are good couples. If Hermione wasn't with Ron, who do you think she'd be with? Ooh. She wasn't with Ron. Who would she be with? I mean, maybe Victor Crumb. No, I don't think that. I don't think that's true. I don't know. I don't think she would go for Neville. It would have to be like, it would have to be someone that was like good at something. And because I think some of the appeal of Ron is that he still did go through, even though he might not be the best wizard or the smartest, he still did go with them on all their trips and like survive these like ridiculous situations that happened to them. And he is very loyal, and that's admirable. So we just don't know enough about some of these other people like Seamus Finnegan or Dean Thomas. Like, I just don't know enough about them to see if she would do it. I think Cedric could make sense if he was alive, but unfortunately not the case. But yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't know. Like, she definitely wouldn't, I don't think she would go for anyone else in the Weasley family. I think Charlie would be the closest, but he's too old for her. So yeah, it's a hard one to answer. That's a really, really hard one to answer. So Kayla says she would be alone. I mean, that's the other thing. I could see Hermione not like feeling the need to date someone for the sake of dating someone. She could just be like, there's no one I really like. I'm chill. Let's see. Louise says she didn't like the JK backtrack. Yeah, she needs to stop. She's getting into George Lucas territory where she wants to just like tweak things. It's like, JK, you've made good books. Obviously, some flaws. Just let it happen. If you want to add to stuff by doing the Pottermore writings and spin-off books, do it. But don't like go back and be like, oh yeah, like I didn't mention this, but of course there were Jewish kids at Hogwarts. It's like, just let your books be your books. Make new things if you want to like contribute to the world. Give us these things like the Fantastic Beasts movie where it's more backstory stuff we didn't know about. Tell us about the Marauders. Tell us about older Order members or something. Do that. Don't do little tweaks like, oh, I should have done this. Like, I think she apologizes for the death of Dobby every anniversary of the death of Dobby. Like, we get it. You killed him. Also, this was not a spoiler. I knew he died. Like, you let your decisions stand. It's okay if you don't think they're perfect. Like, your art isn't perfect. What you made is what it is. Would I go back and fix things that I've done in Potterless? Yeah. But like, I think part of Potterless is like, it gets better as it goes. There are things I cringe at that I did earlier on. Like some of the older recordings were so bad because I put someone on speakerphone and put it by the microphone. When then my buddy Sal was like, why don't you just have people record voice memos on their phone if they don't have a microphone? It's like, oh my goodness, why didn't I think of this? So yes, just let it be what it is, JK. Let's see, a couple more questions and then I do have to go. I have a haircut scheduled. Which couple do you feel is most like you and Kelly? Oh my goodness. I would say, I would say like a less extreme version of Hermione and Ron, because I think that I am very laid back and relaxed for stuff, and Kelly is a little more high strung with stuff. And I think what happens is a lot is like Kelly getting a little frustrated about something, being like, hey, it's all good. And then also Kelly kicking my butt into gear so that I do stuff and then I don't just like procrastinate and let things sit. Like my apartment is usually very dirty unless Kelly's coming over or sees me when I'm FaceTiming her. Like, and she's like, Mike, your place is gross. So I would say it's like a less extreme version of that, where I'm the more chill person and Kelly's a little bit more high strung, but we both benefit from that. So I would say that. Let's see. Yeah, living is a thing for a minute. When referring to Hermione and Cedric, yes, living is pretty necessary. Okay, cool. So that's going to be the end of this live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining and taking the time and for supporting. Your support's amazing. It allows me to do some really cool things, like, you know, be able to buy a flight to go to New York for this live stream, and, you know, buy merchandise to give to you guys and stuff like that. Go to these conventions, buy tickets at the conventions. So thank you. I really do appreciate it so much. And again, feel free to reach out on any social media, send emails, whatever, anything you want like to talk about. Let's talk about it. I reply to like every tweet and Facebook message and Instagram that I can. I try to really stay in touch. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support, like in terms of listening to the show, sharing the show, talking about the show, you know, interacting with me. Obviously the Patreon support, like there's so many. When I say like, thank you for supporting the show, it's so much more than just like, thanks for your money. Like, obviously that is very nice. And it allows me to, like, I'm going to be able to turn Potterless into my job at one point, which is bonkers. That's bonkers. But the support that you guys give is so much more than just the pledges. And I thank you so much for that. Because honestly, the biggest thing of Potterless is word of mouth. And so many people have spread that. And it's so good. It's so good. You guys are the best. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a nice weekend. Oh, thanks, Elise. But yes, you guys are wonderful. You're all great. Thank you so much. I'm going to go so that I'm not late to my haircut. But as they say in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, before they toss up the quaffle and quit, or do they toss the quaffle? How does the game of Quidditch start? Wizard on!